Hi, in this video we will be starting with topic 1.1, which is systems in organization. We will be covering the following subtopics: 1.1.2, we will be covering 1.1.2 and 1.1.3. So we'll start with topic 1.1.2, which is describing the need for change management. Now this is a very straightforward topic. Essentially, what we'll have to talk about here is what do we mean by change management. We'll have to talk about why do we need change management, right? What contributes to management, and that's basically it. So I'll give you a straightforward definition for change management. So we can say that change management is the process of shifting teams, individuals. So you can have teams, individuals, or organizations. Okay, so shifting teams, individuals, or organizations. I'll just write organizations from a current state to a desired state. From a current state to a desired state. Desired state. Let me just explain what this means. So essentially, the way change management occurs is that you have some change that you're implementing. You're bringing some change to your system, your computer system, or your work environment. And when you introduce this new change, you must manage it in some way. You must, along with that change, you must bring some reforms, such that you can shift the teams, individuals, organizations, groups, your human resources from the present state to this desired state. So I'll do this with another color. To this desired state. This is very important. And this desired state is what you can also think of as a successful state. Essentially, this is what you want to achieve. So by introducing a change in your system, you want to achieve this successful state. So let me make this clear for you with a concrete example. So let's say that a company changes their operating system, right? So there's this company. Okay, there's this company, and they're using some operating system right now. I'll draw a small laptop here. So what they've done is they've changed their operating system. They've brought about some change here, and what they now want to do is that to ensure that this company's operations run smoothly, they must train their employees to use this operating system properly, to fully gauge the benefits of this change, right? Because the goal of a change is to get benefits from that, whatever they may be. So let's say introducing this new operating system gives them this change, gives them some benefits. What kind of benefits? Let's say it allows them to work more, it gives them more performance. Okay, I'll write that. So this change gives you a benefit of more performance, right? This can be in terms of computational resources. Less computational resources are being used, so they're getting more efficient outputs, something like that. So basically, what they now want to do is they want to manage this change. How can they do that? They can do that in the form of user training, right? User training, educating their employees such that they can properly use this operating system. And in that case, they will then be able to come from this current state. So again, think about what the current state is. The current state is that employees don't know how to use this new operating system. They know how to use the previous operating system. And so they want to go from this current state to this desired state, which is where the employees know how to use it. They have been given proper user training, and now they can manage this operating system, and they can now get the benefits, which is more performance. And so that's one example of what change management is. So this is how we've introduced change management. Now what they're going to do is they will give you most questions based on change management are geared towards a specific situation that the question itself will provide. So you don't need to worry about remembering something. It's generally based on such real life examples. Now that's change management, right? But we want to talk about the need, right? So it says, I'll do this with red, describe the need for change management. The main point here is not change management itself, it's the need for change management, right? So how do we do that? Okay, so now that we've talked about what change management is, think about why would someone need change management. So I'll take this example only. Again, we've said that change management here could be required for multiple reasons, okay? And most reasons depend on the situation, but mainly we do it to minimize negative impacts of change on individuals, and I'll write that here. Minimizing negative impacts of change on individuals. Negative impacts of change on individuals. And you can think about it. I mean, this would, in my opinion, be very intuitive, because if you're introducing some change and you're at this current state where the employees don't have proper user training, right? You're at this current state where the employees don't have proper user training. They don't know how to successfully use this change. So you're gonna have some negative impacts, right? There will be hindrance in your work environment, in how well the employees are performing, right? So think of this example only. So the reason we do change management, user training, is so that you can not only gauge the benefits of this change, but you also minimize the negative impacts of that change on the individuals in your company, on the human resources in your company. So that's change management, and that is all in topic 1.1.2. It's just this much. What change management is, and why would we need to do change management, right? Now let's move on to topic 1.1.3 here. Yeah. Now topic 1.1, now the learning assessment objective here, I'll write that here. AO, assessment objective, for both of them are 2. This means that the conventional response that you need to write, the usual response you need to write in your question, it won't be that long. It will range from 4 to 6 lines, and generally they also give you questions like identify or simply state, right? So these questions won't be that hard. So outlining, so topic 1.1.3, outline compatibility issues resulting from situations including legacy systems or business mergers. Now I'll start by giving concrete definitions of both legacy systems here and business mergers, so you understand what we technically mean by those. And then I'll talk about possible issues stemming from both of them. So I'll come here. I'll do this with green, right? So the term legacy system, I'll just use legacy system as an umbrella term, but essentially it means legacy system, software, hardware, anything. It simply just refers to, legacy is just a fancy word for old, refers to an old. You can also think of it as outdated, old technology, right? Technology, yeah, basically legacy system refers to an old technology, hardware, computer system, anything, right? Hardware, computer system, software, whatever, right? I won't write all of those, but it's anything that is old. That's what it refers to, and that's the basic informal definition that you need to remember. They don't ask you the definition itself, so it doesn't matter much. Now, this is important to understand that while it's still old, legacy systems are still used a lot in today's day and age, right? For example, I'll give you an example. NASA, popular, it's a very big organization, right? NASA still uses legacy firmware to this day, right? They use legacy firmware written in outdated programming languages and technologies, which use a lot of old libraries and frameworks, right? But they still use them because changing those legacy software can impact in um, changing such legacy software can impact in a lot of systems breaking down, right? A lot of their um, systems that manage rockets and the rockets itself, probably they could break down, they won't work, all because you are introducing a change in this legacy software. And plus people who wrote those legacy software, people who actually had intimate knowledge of the software itself, they were also very old. um, they're also very old. Who knows that they're still alive at this day and age? Again, we're talking about software ranging from like 40, 50, 60 years ago, right? So I'll also give you an example of legacy hardware. I don't know if you've heard it, you've heard of it. There's this thing called PS2, not PlayStation 2, PS2. So this is basically an example of legacy hardware. PS2 is actually a serial port. It's a port like USB, and it was used for connecting keyboards and other peripheral devices to computers. It was used a few decades ago. It's not used anymore. I think it was created in 1987, but it's not used anymore. So this is basically legacy system, um, old technology, hardware, software system, whatever. Now let's go on to business merger, right? Business mergers. Now business mergers, if you are a BM student, you may know what a business merger is. Business merger is simply put the combining is simply put the combining combining of two or more business entities. Think of it as two companies, two or more companies just joining hands together and forming one big entity. That is what a business merger is. You don't need to know reasons why businesses merge. That's not part of the syllabus itself. But one of them is reducing costs. So one reason is to reduce costs. So think about it. If there are two companies, if they join forces, so all of their bills, their costs would merge into one, and therefore it will reduce. So that's one reason why businesses may merge. There are plenty others, and it again mostly depends on the situations of the businesses itself. So at this point, I'll ask you to implore, right? If businesses merge, what kind of compatibility issues between the two businesses can arise? So obviously, think about this: the two businesses. Let's say this is one business, this is another business, okay, and this is the Earth, okay. Oh, this looks like a human. How about I erase this? So let's say one business is located here, okay. So you can think of it this way: there has to be some geographical location where the business is located, the business's headquarters are, or the business itself mainly is located. So if it's located in different parts of the world, right, there will certainly be this the languages in the businesses may be different, the languages that they use. Let's say if this is in, let's say, the USA, and let's say this is China. That doesn't seem right geographically, but if it is China, you'll see that these two are located in different parts of the world. Therefore, this business here can have Mandarin as its language, the language that it mainly uses, and this can be English, right? So you'll see that because of their geographical locations, there's also this compatibility issue, that when they merge, all of their documents and everything is in different languages. So here I'll note down this as a point, as compatibility issue. this will be language differences. This is totally plausible. Language differences. Now, take the same point. They are geographically different. What other point can you think of from here, right? So, since they are located in different parts of the world, the working hours will also be different because they're in different time zones. I mean, again, these two are on different continents, different parts of the world, faces of the world, right? So, it's going to be like when it's daytime in the US, it'll be nighttime in China, right? If you take the same countries. So, the working hours will therefore be different. And this is again, when they merge into one company, there'll be this compatibility issue. Which time to consider? Which will be the finer working hours, right? For this one company. So, therefore, you also have time zone issues or time zone clashes, right? Time zone difference. Time zone difference. Differences. Cool. Now, the last point is pretty simple. It's nothing to do with geography. It's simply system incompatibility. System incompatibility. I'll tell you what I mean by that. So, let's say the two businesses are some sort of retail businesses, okay? They use some sort of retail inventory tracking management systems or something, right? So the software that they will use will also most likely be different, right? There's some chance they can use the same software, but there's another chance that they can use different softwares, different systems, right? So in that case, that'll again be a point of conflict, which system to use in case they merge. So that is where system incompatibility comes in. It's just when it's just this conflict between which system to use when there are two different systems being used, right? So these are the compatibility issues that may stem from business mergers. You don't need to remember all of them. I've seen that there was one question, it only asked for two compatibility issues from business mergers, but yeah, it's good if you remember all of them. So these are compatibility issues from business merger. I'll do this one in blue now. I'll talk about compatibility issue in legacy system. Now in case of legacy system, right off the bat, the technology used will be pretty old. Therefore, there will obviously be incompatibility in software versions. Okay. Incompatibility in I wrote is there in software versions. Okay. I'll again give you an example here. So let's say you're using some sort of you're using some web application that was written 20 years ago, or let's say 30 years ago. Okay. Now the web application itself will be using some database, right? Yeah, okay. What happened to my system here? So let's say this is some web application that you're using. Okay. It will obviously use some database to communicate. I won't go into too many specifics right now. But now if this is 30 years old, okay, remember, this is 30 years old. So obviously this database itself which it will be using, let's say this is something like MySQL. Okay. The thing is, the version being used in this MySQL will be a version used, being used 30 years ago, right? Than the current MySQL. So it will be very, very old. So if you are to now migrate this web application, okay, you don't just have to change the code, you also have to migrate it from this old version database, which can have lots of missing features, to a new database. There itself, you'll find conflicts, you'll find incompatibility, right? So that is this point, incompatibility in software versions. So again, different businesses, not businesses, again, different softwares, legacy softwares can use old versions of libraries or other software. Another point I'll make is incompatible file format. Incompatible file formats. This is also, I hope it's intuitive, so you understand. um, Basically, wait, I'll first say this is legacy system. Okay, so I'll tell you. Certain file formats are again old and outdated, which are not used anymore. Two of them are, I'll give you examples, MPS and PCX. MPS and PCX. If you don't know, MPS is mathematical programming system. It's not used anymore. It was used to model mathematical equations and all. And PCX is picture exchange. It was a file format, image file format by, I think, Adobe. So legacy systems may very well use such incompatible file formats. So let's say if there's something like, let's say a 20-year-old software. So let's say an image editing software 20 years ago, it would probably use something like PCX, a file format that is not used in this day and age. Right now, we generally use JPEG, PNG, stuff like that. So in that case, we can't really the output that image editing program would give you, this PCX file, it wouldn't really be useful for us. So that is again a point of conflict, and that is therefore this incompatible file formats. That's the point here. So these are all the points under topic 1.1.3. Okay, these are the compatibility issues from legacy systems and business mergers. So let's take a moment to reflect what all we've done. We've talked about issues of these are the teacher's notes, by the way. So we've talked about we've talked about issues of software compatibility and language differences, right? They tell you mainly to consider international basis, because again, when we talk about companies and all, it's important to consider the internet. It's important to consider globally the differences, the global challenges.